welcome back. This is Brad from Fermented Artistry, and happy 4th of July. We're here on Monday on our wonderful day off, and I wanted to do a video review this week, actually. And I figured what a better way to do it than with Oskar Blues 1050 Imperial Stout. So I know it's probably about 90 degrees out today, and what might sound like a silly idea to actually do an Imperial Stout on such a warm day, but this is an awesome beer, and honestly, it's one of my favorites. And what makes it super cool is that it's in a can and it's transportable. You can take it anywhere, beaches, pools, and anywhere that doesn't let you take glass. So I think that's pretty darn cool. This comes from Oskar Blues Brewing Company in Loins, Colorado. They're actually the first craft microbrewery to be putting their stuff in a can. So they started with their Dale's Pale Ale. They have Mama Little Yellow's Pilsner. They have their Big Sticky Red called Goodnight, which was formerly called Gordon. But Gordon Beers, which is a franchise microbrewery kind of restaurant chain, they end up suing them over the name. So unfortunately now it's called Goodnight over some legal problems. And of course their new like double/triple IPA called Gubna, which is, a lot of people say it's one of those beers. Is it going to be a, is it going to be a really good beer? Or some people say, it kind of tastes like raw onions. You know what I mean? It really is a hit or miss kind of style beer. Personally, I like Gubna, but of course within moderation. So today's featured beer is actually 10.5% alcohol, and again we're going to ready to pour it here in our nice little Renault snifter glass. So let's get ready, crack her open, and see what we have. Pretty standard, just cracked it open, heard a nice little hiss, nothing too nothing to write home about. I mean, it wasn't foaming over, it wasn't like flat, so it was definitely a, what you expect. So I'm gonna give her a nice tilt here because I don't want to foam over on this nice little picnic table. And you can see it's pouring oil black with a deep brown foam head coming up. I don't think we're gonna pull probably more than that out of it, unfortunately. I don't think we're going to say like a 1-inch, 2-inch head on this, but it is heavy. It is sticky. I mean, this is what you expect in an Imperial Stout, so, you can't really knock points off for that. But I would say, if you hold it up, take a look at the color. Again, opaque. We're not getting any light through it. It is black as night. Just a tiny little bit of chocolate-colored bubbles clinging around the edges. That's about it. There are some tiny bubbles coming up, which you can see, which is a good sign, so it is carbonated, it's not flat, which is always a plus. So I like to lean my glass a little bit, do a little bit of a swirl, see if I can get some legs on it. I don't want to spill too much by swirling it, but you can kind of see that there are some legs actually clinging to the glass, and they are coming down a little bit slower. So I would say it's a medium to high viscosity check on it. It's not quite like cough syrup, and it's not quite like, a Robitussin, but is definitely thick, and you can see it's kind of leaving a little bit of a orangey black tinge on the walls. So enough looking at it. Like I said, let's get into it, start taking a whiff, see what kind of aroma we're pulling off of it. The first thing I can tell just by feeling the glass is this is perfect temperature. It's not really ice cold, but you don't want these styles of beer to be really cold. You want them to be about 45 to 55 degrees so that we're getting the most out of our beer. Ice cold beer will obviously numb your taste buds, can't taste too much from it, and really can't smell too much from it. So this is actually feeling like a good temperature so far. Ah, man, right off the start, huge bursts of like cocoa, coffee, dark malts, explode, a little bit of burnt, roasty flavors maybe. Even kind of like some burnt meat even, which is not a bad thing. Super fresh smelling though. Doesn't smell like it's an aged can, which is nice. No oxidation to smell of, no wet paper, no cardboard, no nothing. There's some hops in there. Not too much at this point, just a little bit of earthy, spicy kind of hops, but really the chocolate and the roast and the coffee flavors really seem to be taking the front and center stage here. So that's pretty much what we're looking at, and I think it's time to actually take a little sip here, see what we get into, and see what we're finally getting at. Oh, awesome. absolutely awesome. Right off the start, the thing I can tell you is that what varies from the smell and the taste is actually there is more of a hop taste than there is a smell. So I know I just said 5 minutes ago that there's not much of a hop aroma, but I can actually taste it more in this. Again, it's not citrusy West Coast bitter kind of hops. We're talking like earthy, spicy, mossy, almost a little bit even oakiness to it, which is different. Lots of baker's chocolate. Baker's chocolate, bitter chocolate. Doesn't tend to be a very sweet beer, so it's not like cloying sweet or like almost like a chocolate stout or a milk stout. But this baby's heavy, very heavy on the mouthfeel. Again, it does coat the glass a little bit with some nice legs, but it is sticky and thick in the mouth. You know, it's very, very heavy. This baby will warm me up pretty quick. I mean, it's good. Carbonation seems to be mild to medium. It's nothing too spritzy or make my nose tingle or anything like that. But again, it's not like drinking pancake syrup, and it's not like drinking, you know, anything flat or wine. But it is definitely spot on par. Getting a little bit warmer, which is okay by me. I prefer mine a little bit warmer than I do colder. More of the roast is actually coming through than the chocolate. Almost kind of tasting like a cold black bitter coffee, which is very, very good. Still got a little bit of bubbles coming up from the bottom. You know, and I would say one last thing in the finish, maybe like some burnt toffee, brown sugar. You can feel it like coats your throat going all the way down. Super good, super fresh. One of my all-time favorites. Yeah, it's a little warm for this beer today, but really doesn't matter. This is awesome. I mean, this is as good as they come, and even better, it comes in a can, so you can enjoy it, take it anywhere you want to go. Super good. Overall, like the drinkability on it, and you know, I would say this is a fantastic beer to start with if you're not too sure on big heavy Russian Imperial Stouts. It is on the bitterer side. If you like coffee, or if you like good charred meat or anything like that, or even if you're even like a pipe smoker or like a cigar smoker, it has a little bit of a tobacco-y kind of taste to it, which is very, very good. It's complex, it's chewy, it's viscous, it's delicious, and it just doesn't come any better than that. And I would say, you know, for the price, this beer is great. It has aging capabilities. I would say maybe 2 to 3 years at the most, but it will get definitely more viscous. The hop flavor will fall out, and some of the heat alcohol that is there, it's not punchy in the face alcohol, but it's definitely there, will mellow out and become more syrupy. So I would say a real winner. If you never had this, you need to go out and give it a shot. So definitely one to recommend in my book, and you know, what can I say? This is a great one. So happy 4th of July. I hope you guys enjoy, and check in next week for our next review, and we'll see you then. Cheers.